Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are watching this. Welcome to Walk It Off. I am Paul Jarrett, and we will be having a fun show here tonight. We're going to be joined by my good friend, Mr. John Eads, here in a minute. Before we get there, I want to reflect on what today means for our country. Today is Memorial Day. Some of you know this, a lot of you don't. I served in the U.S. Army for 6 years. I deployed and supported Operation Enduring Freedom. And this country means a lot to me, and the people who serve for this country mean a lot to me. And I made a post earlier talking about how today is not about a day off. Today is not about barbecues and baseball and all that jazz. It's about remembering the men and women who serve this country, not like me, but the ones who gave their life and paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. We can get lost in fandom and rivalry and who said what and all kinds of crazy things when it comes to day-to-day life as a fan of LSU or any other sport, or if you're a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan or a Braves fan. And it can get messy, but one thing today, what I love about today is that a day like today can recenter everyone. It can recenter everyone and have everyone united on one thing, and that's remembering the men and women who gave their lives to this country. I don't want to pick on this man. He's a very nice man, Mr. CBD on X. He told me he doesn't say Happy Memorial Day, and I told him in the reply, I don't blame you for that. I know he's a U.S. Army and Navy veteran, dual branches. And I don't blame him for that. It's kind of like the thank you for your service thing. When it comes to talking to a veteran, some people are weird about it. It's whatever. However you want to celebrate today or remember today, you need to remember the men and women you served with or you knew who lost their lives in the best way you know how. Like I told him, for me, I spend the day celebrating their life, celebrating who they were. Thankful that I didn't have to give that ultimate sacrifice and lay my life at freedom's doorstep for the betterment of this country. I was able to come home and later on get married, have children, have a life outside the military, and enjoy the freedoms this country provides. And one thing I always tell myself all the time, because we get mixed up with so much stuff. We argue and we complain about stuff in this country, and not going to get political here, but I know there's certain feelings either side of the aisle, whether you're a red team or a blue team or a purple team, wherever you want to call it. Remember that the coffee you buy in the morning, they're probably about the same price now. The gasoline you put in your car every morning to go to work is cheaper than the cup of coffee you buy at the coffee shop. The water you use the bathroom in every morning is cleaner than most water most people on this earth are going to have to drink today. No matter how bad it seems or how bad social media and different news agencies want to paint this country, it's still a wonderful country to live in. And I still love this country with all my heart. You should too. Be thankful of the men and women, because those men and women do not have a say in what happens in Congress or what happens in the Senate, what happens in the presidential office. They don't have a say in the Supreme Court. Those men and women didn't go fight for the president. They didn't go fight for your local representative. They went and fought for you, whether you knew them or not. And they died for you, whether you knew them or not. So, all of that to say, I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day. We're going to have a great time tonight talking to Mr. John Eads. Before we get to John, we're going to run our ads real quick, have a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to bring John right in. All right. So stay with us.
John 16:33, Jesus says, I've told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth, you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I've overcome the world. Like, that truth that Jesus won is so powerful, so significant in our lives if we fully trust and fully surrender to that promise. Like, no matter what we're going to face, no matter what stress, no matter what challenges, no matter what anxiety, like Jesus promises peace, and he reminds us that all of the sin, the fear, the doubt, the shame, like he overcame it all. He paid the price for your sin and mine when he went to that cross. He died a death that we deserve. He went into the grave. He didn't stay there. 3 days later, he rose from the grave, and the promise is true that he's coming back someday. So the power and the significance of that verse is now in a 2-word phrase that's on a t-shirt, on a hat, on a hoodie, and simply said, Jesus.
Even in the valley of the shadow of death, I can take rest, cause the living God is living in my chest. Every day I wake up feeling blessed, and even if I don't, I see it as a test.
Join me and your favorite players by expressing your faith and assisting local ministries. Use code WALKITOFFTALK for 20% off your orders at JesusOneApparel.com. 15% of your purchase will support local ministries like the LSU FCA. That is code WALKITOFFTALK for 20% off. Jesus One. In South Louisiana, there's nothing we love more than God, family, sports, and food. For your next get-together, make sure you contact Mie Sourdough Bakery. Whether you're gathering with friends and family for the big game or surrounding yourself with loved ones for a Sunday dinner, let Mie Sourdough Bakery provide what you need to make it that much more special. Mie Sourdough Bakery is a small batch, all organic bakery right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Go take a look at what's being mixed up in the kitchen next, as well as place your orders on Instagram at Mie Sourdough Bakery. Don't forget to pick up your regular sourdough loaves, your jalapeno cheddar loaves, cookies for those late night snacks, and cinnamon rolls for those early morning cravings. Mie Sourdough Bakery, where the first ingredient in anything made is love. Mie Sourdough Bakery. So before John gets on the screen, let's give you a little rundown of him. Y'all know the ladies love his biceps. He played hockey, which is not unusual for a man from Michigan. He is an All-American, which we will touch on because I saw that. He is an All-American. He has thunder thighs, but bring me in and let me welcome WAFB young boy, John Eads. How we doing, man?
What's up, brother? I like that because there's no shot I ever would have played in the NBA. So we'll go with those letters instead, or the NHL.
I was sitting there today. I was thinking, I'm like, NBA young boy, WAFB young boy. That works. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. I echo what you said. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. It was a gloomy day for a little while there in Baton Rouge, but the sun's poking through finally. But thank you for the time you spent serving, and everybody else that watches or is going to watch when this gets posted. Much appreciated. Not something that I have had to do. Happily would if I needed to, but blessed that I don't have to do that because of yourself and many others that came before.
I would much rather have you on the sidelines of LSU football and baseball. I promise you. We need good men like you over there. Don't need to worry about all that mess over there.
Appreciate that.
Sorry about, by the way, I want to apologize to you. I didn't realize I've been working so much. I didn't realize today was Memorial Day until I woke up yesterday. And I was like, should I cancel it? But
that's okay. I had nothing else going on. I thought Memorial Day was next weekend as well, because I thought it was always at the end of May. And my roommate told me it was Memorial Day weekend. I was like, are you sure? Really? And sure enough, it is. So
it's crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. So one thing I want to get off the top of the bat. So you're an All-American from the Sportscasters Talent
Agency of America.
Agency of America. So did you get that while you were at Syracuse? Or
I got that my senior year. That's something that you can apply for as a college student. There's a bunch of guys that look over your reel from college, you know, what you do in broadcasting, play-by-play, studio hosting, that kind of stuff. And there's thousands of people that apply from colleges all across America. And it has to be a specific length. They have all these kind of criteria and stuff. And my junior year, I sent in an application, didn't get anything. I think they picked 25 All-Americans, and then there's like a first team, a second team, a third team, that kind of thing. I didn't get on any of those my junior year. And then senior year, I sent in an application again, and sure enough, I was able to get on the first team and all this. So that was pretty cool. That was a nice way to kind of leave college, and kickstart things professionally. Kind of, I believed in myself before, and was blessed enough to go to the school I did and get the preparation I did. But it was nice to kind of get a little bit of validation for all the hours I spent, not in the bars, not in the fraternity, in college, fine tuning my craft and what I do.
So similar to like somebody being called overrated, but then hitting 300 and having double-digit home runs.
Yeah,
kind of feels good to get that, then go to the draft, right? Like,
it's not. It's cool. It's certainly a little different being an All-American college broadcaster than an All-American college safety, But
I don't think so.
It was cool.
You're still an All-American. You can put at the end of your emails, John Eads, WAFB, All-American.
I wouldn't do that now. I think that kind of expires. It was cool to say until I got my degree, and now it was a college award. So now I don't do this job for awards, but I don't really, carry that with me and stuff everywhere I go. Like, I was an All-American. You know what I mean? It's just, I've kind of moved on from that. So,
because I'm thinking about it, the more I think about it, I dated a woman who was a doctor.
Okay.
But she was an audiologist.
Well, yeah, you went like this. So like...
yeah, she didn't have a doctorate.
Okay.
But she put like not the MD, but it was another doctorate title and everything. I went,
yeah,
you don't have a doctorate.
Hey, was Dr. Dre a PhD?
In mixing beats? Yeah.
Yes.
Officially,
maybe not, but whatever.
In creating bangers? Yes. I mean, I know I did a little research and found out I have an idea how old you are, because I know you're smarter than me and didn't go to college for 7 years, but you have probably a lot of the same taste in music I had back in the day. I don't like as much new rap. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, young boy kind of get into a certain beat will get me. Like, the beats on my show.
Oh, your intro sounds just like a Young Boy song. I felt so in my element.
On purpose. I found like non-copyright. I put it Baton Rouge NBA Young Boy instrumentals, non-copyright.
Non-copyright. Yeah.
And so on purpose, but like, I grew up, like, my favorite rapper right now is Big Tex the Plug, because he reminds me of my genre, my generation of rap.
Sure. Yeah.
But speaking of that, because I'm talking to you before, just chatting back and forth when we do, Baton Rouge 225 infected you before you got down here. So with that, how did you end up because you're born in Detroit, you go to college in Michigan. How do you end up down here? How does that work out within getting a job somewhere and picking where you had to go? Because that's all American. I'm sure you had your choices.
It's kind of weird, and it's very niche, in this industry, coming out of college, you're not going to start in the city you came from if you come from a big city. So for me, that was Detroit. Like, you're not getting the job in Detroit in TV right out of college. It's just, unless it's, a behind the scenes job or something like that. But being on TV, talking in front of thousands of people, watching from wherever. I mean, that's something you got to earn and kind of work your way up the ranks. Kind of like, high A, double A, triple A, not a direct comparison, but it's kind of similar. Like, I have guys that I graduated with, they work one's at Green Bay. Like, he got to work in an awesome TV market like this one right out of college. I got a buddy that started his career in Minnesota. Somebody's in the Scranton area, all over the place. Small places that we didn't grow up in, we're not very familiar with. But that's where you got to go to kind of cut your teeth most of the time, like Odessa, Texas, or I don't know, middle of nowhere, Wyoming. And then you can kind of work your way up the ranks. I was fortunate to start in a place that's a market that a lot of people want to get to after their first or second job. Like Baton Rouge is
really,
what is there not to love about working here? You know what I mean? You got Lane Kiffin in the football team, and this is all present, but just work with me.
Yeah.
Will Wade in men's basketball, Kim Mulkey women's basketball, Jay Clark gymnastics, Beth Serena softball, Jay Johnson. Like, all of those programs are interesting to cover, and it's all year round. So your job is never boring or dull. You're not walking into work like, what the heck am I going to do today? It's not like that in all TV markets. So how I ended up here, I put a video on YouTube of me doing news stuff in college, which wasn't my forte and not what I wanted to pursue. Like,
was that your Jim Nance reel?
That is the sports one. Jim Nance reel is the sports reel. But I thought I should, because in class, we don't do a lot of sports. The curriculum is very much oriented to be a Dan Rather. I I don't know, Lester Holt, you know, guys that do the nightly news and anchor the nightly news and report on crime and, you know, settlements and lawsuits and all these things. That's not really what I enjoy. And so I put a video up of me doing that stuff in class just because I had it and what the heck, why not? And the guy that does the hiring at our station saw it. We spoke, went back and forth, and I said, hey, I'm not really into a news career, you know, and so he worked with me. And I started out for the first 3 months doing kind of some sports, mostly sports, and starting my podcast, and then a little bit of news stuff here and there if they needed me to. And then Steve Schneider, who was our sports director for a long time, decided to retire in October of 2023. That was 3 months into my tenure doing my original job. And so instead of having to bring somebody else in, I was already working there. I just needed to move my desk to the other side of the building. And then everybody that was in the department before, Jacques Doucet and Kevin Baptiste, they moved up to 1 and 2. And then I took the number 3 job. And it's been like the treadmill in the airports ever since then. I've gotten on it and it hadn't stopped, you know, and we're just zooming. And it's been 3 years already. So that's kind of the long-winded answer to how I ended up down here. Didn't have any family. Only time I visited was I came to visit the station in May, I think, or April of 23. Went to an LSU midweek game against, I think, McNeese.
How was that game?
I didn't know what Tony Satchery's was. I pointed to it, and I was like, oh, isn't that stuff pretty popular down here? And everybody kind of looked at me like I was from, you know.
Detroit
or Ireland. Like, who is this guy? And I don't blame him. So, yeah. And then I decided to roll the dice, come down here, and it's worked out really well.
And you got here in June of 23, so you came off the back of the first college baseball national championship in 14 years.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz. You rolled right into a disappointing football season, and the Heisman with Jaden Daniels that year.
It's still fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. The one thing I'll say about LSU is, or Baton Rouge in general, staying away from the news side because that can be depressing. But sports side, it's always going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
Like today with Lane Kiffin, I was going to talk about that, but I just don't want to do it right now. Him being reprimanded by the SEC.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Ridiculous. But Brian Kelly hitting desks, like you're always going to have something to talk about here. And by the way, earlier, I had such a relief. I saw the Jim Nantz reel and my head went Tim Brando. And I went, oh, wait, no. Not the same person. Brando's been going in on people lately.
I have noticed that. Yes, I have noticed. It gets contentious on there.
Yeah. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. So
Tim used to work at our station, by the way, way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
In like the 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
80s, 90s. So
was is Jacques there yet?
No, he got to our station in 01, the year I was born, for perspective.
God.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. You're a little bit older than I thought you were. I thought you were around 23, 24, but I'm probably
I am 24. Yeah.
I was in the Army. I'm a knuckle tracker. I'm not good with math.
Not either. I do what I do.
So it's funny you say you started there because I was trying to think back the first time I noticed you because we're a Channel 9 household. That's what we check for everything. I grew up on the North Shore, so I always had the New Orleans station. So I grew up, but I remember I was trying to figure out what hurricane it was, but you were in that WAFB Titan y'all have driving around storm chasing. What was that like?
Oh, that was interesting. I don't even remember what that one was either. I probably
Ivy or Francine,
that day, but it really wasn't a big one for y'all's standards. So nobody remembers the name. You know what I mean? It's a good thing. Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, there wasn't any sports to cover that day, and so you still got to get your hours in. And so the guy that heads up our news side told me, "Hey, can you ride around in our, Titan 9? And we pay to have it. It's for situations like these, and it is sweet in there. I'll tell you what, you should take a look inside if you ever have a chance. We got a camera on the passenger seat, almost like you put your phone up on the mirror thing you could pull down. There's a camera there, but it's a professional grade camera. There's lighting equipment. There's a joystick, kind of like it's an Xbox, that you can use the camera that's on top of the truck to do like 360 views of what's going on outside. There's a camera on the dashboard facing the road, so you can go to that camera. So I'm sitting there, and I learned everything pretty quickly because This is technology that's kind of tailored for kids my age, is, these switches and these buttons and stuff. It's almost like you're just playing a game. And so we just drove around, me, Chuck, and then we had Joe in the back who works in our creative team at the station. We had a saying that we kept using. I think it was John, Joe, and Chuck in the truck is what we said. And then it became John and Chuck in the truck during the big snowstorm we had a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so we drove around everywhere, to Donaldsonville, to Lake Pontchartrain, Baton Rouge, and just kind of getting views of what's going on. And it wasn't a ton of stuff that happened. people's garages, things got torn off and trees fell and electrical wires fell, but we were just driving around, and I don't have any expertise in weather or hurricanes or any of that. I was kind of just giving play-by-play of exactly what I was seeing outside. And that was a fun day. Fun because, we were just in a truck and we weren't out there having to do these crazy things and stuff, and weren't really affected by the weather. But that was an enjoyable way to kind of cover the hurricane from our perspective. So yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, because I'm noticing, because I remember watching the news and seeing you talk sports. I'm like, what's a sports guy doing? What? Like,
that's what we do. They call us in. My coworkers. I don't know if Jacques had to do anything that day, but Kevin, they had him go and video for a reporter doing a live shot. It's all hands on deck, because everybody like yourself's watching us, because CNN's not covering it. They're not here, Yeah. It's just us. It's Channel 9, Channel 2, and Channel 33 that people are looking to for information about what is happening, how bad is this going to be, and things like that. And everybody else, stay home, stay in the comfort of your home. Don't leave if you don't have to. We'll go out and we'll get the video and the pictures, and we'll make the phone calls and get the information out to you guys. So it's kind of cool to be in those situations where people are relying on you for what's happening and what's the latest and stuff, because unlike sports where you can Google things and find box scores and things, weather is very much on the fly and talking to people in charge. So that was an interesting experience for sure, as a guy that has no experience in hurricanes living in Michigan.
So you're absolutely right about all that, because this is before you even got in college. You probably heard about it being down here long enough. The 2016 floods, they had two of them.
Yeah.
March and August or September. I think it was August. That was the back end of my military career, and I was a liaison for the Emergency Operations Center over at the Homeland Security Office here in Baton Rouge. So storms coming 72 hours out, you're going. So I'm up there, and we're working 12-hour shifts back and forth, no matter what the weather is, figuring out how to help civilians, how to help all these different branches. And so it's even not, because then we had chances to go out and do certain operations, like search and rescue operations. Like when they had the helicopters come fly over, I think it was around Alexandria, and drop super sacks on the levee that broke. You go out there and fly with that and be out helping with all that. It's a fun little thing to be the one person who shouldn't be outside, while everybody else is kind of stuck inside trying to be safe. Like it's kind of fun doing that. You have that rebel mentality to you. That's why I picked the song today, by the way.
I know that was a good pick. Yeah. That's been a favorite of mine for a while. So yeah, no, I'm just driving around in a truck. We're not doing anything that dangerous.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're doing that,
but different. And that is very important stuff.
Same mindset though, because you're providing in that moment, you're providing such a critical tool to not only the people at home, but even the people in the Emergency Operations Center, because you have so many different reports coming in. It's better to have eyes on ground to say, okay, what's this like over here?
For sure.
Because you'll get some crazy calls from people like, hey, I need to go get these certain samples out of a warehouse that men put out. And it's like, no, we're not doing that right now. Yeah. It's crazy.
I've tried to entertain too. Obviously it's a very serious situation, but I tried to pick and choose spots where I could kind of entertain people. And, because you're watching this, it's kind of like a live stream, and so it doesn't always need to be so uptight and serious, especially if the situation doesn't necessarily call for it, So during the snowstorm, especially, I was just having fun and meeting people and watching people do all this crazy stuff. And that was a little bit different because it wasn't necessarily life threatening. But that's a chance to be entertaining too. I mean, how many times have we all sat in the passenger seat of a car just having a good time, and listening to music and chatting with people? And that's kind of what I tried to make it, is that people were a fly in the car, which you hate, but a fly in the car, just kind of taking it in with us. So,
yeah, actually, of a snowstorm, you actually were by my old house. I was living there at the time when you came through in Central. Yeah. And you went to this little neighborhood. My house was the last one on the back with the gate. I was like, "Oh, look, he's outside."
They should have DM'd me. I would have.
I didn't know you back then. I didn't know you back then.
We ran into some characters, man. This family was building a snowman, a very good snowman, I might say, better than any I ever made growing up, and I had a lot of years of experience. These other guys were riding around in an ice chest, I don't know how to describe it, just surfing, I guess, through the snow, and it was a fun day. It reminded me of home. It was a weird deal.
Well, this is a question I got for you then. It'd be interesting to hear because you have the best perspective, because I've lived across the country. I've experienced different weather, right? I always tell people up north cold is bad. Southern cold is chills you to the bones.
Yeah.
And they always tell me that, oh, no, it doesn't get cold in the South. I'm like, okay.
No, it does. Here. Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right.
It's not necessarily down here is different. Like, I walk outside every day. Most days I don't even check the weather, which I probably should. And so I'll show up to a preseason scrimmage and, it's sunny outside. And every day here, I'd say the average temperature is 75 or something. And so there's those days though where it's down in the 40s and the 50s, and
you're wearing shorts.
I didn't bring a coat with me, and I'm already at the stadium. I'm like, dang it, that was a stupid decision. And it gets a little windy. It gets cold, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've been at some soccer games where when the sun goes down, even LSU's fall game against Southeastern, I was literally shaking. So it gets cold down here for sure, and it's because you're not prepared for it. Like, my mom sent me a box of winter clothes the day I moved down. Haven't opened the box since. It's been 3 years, but there's been times I've needed to pull a coat out, a light coat just to sustain, because it gets chilly for sure. Yeah.
If you're ever stuck at the box or at Tiger Stadium, just DM me. I live right here. I'll just swing on and bring you a coat, man. It's not a problem.
Thanks. Didn't need it very much this year. It was pretty warm from the start of the season on. There weren't very many cold games, and we didn't have a ton of rain delays either. So
weather was good.
Yeah,
weather was good this year. Speaking of LSU baseball, let's just break the ice with it. Be honest about it. Where do you think it failed, or what point in the season did you look at this team and go, I'm gonna have to find something to fill my June?
I was thinking about that this morning. Just there's so many factors, I mean, where to begin? I'm probably going to forget some. I'll get to that. As far as where it started to think it was going wrong, let me pull the schedule up and really think about that, because obviously it started out so well. I mean, 8-0, ran through everybody. Milwaukee, they swept, is in the NCAA tournament. UCF,
you get to the Sacramento State Dartmouth weekend. That's when it kind of came off the rails. Yeah. But
well, yeah, I mean, they lost to McNeese. That happens, so you're not really raising an eyebrow at that. I mean, this stretch here, though, Monday, March 2nd to Sunday, March 8th, when they lost to Northeastern, and then they followed that up losing to UL on their home field, and it really wasn't even that competitive. And then you come back and you play a great game against Sacramento State on the Friday when Jake Brown had those 3 bombs, right, in a row. But then you lose that series. I mean, you don't lose series to mid-majors. You just don't. I think that was a historic series loss. So I think that's the point in time. And let's throw this out there. I mean, LSU was as healthy as it could be at that point. I know Stanley wasn't playing, but Cooper Moore was in the rotation and everybody else was playing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think that's the point in time in which people were like, all right, what's going on here? Because you might lose one game to Sacramento State. You sure as heck, though, don't lose 2 in a row and lose a series, and then to top it all off, that was just a week from hell. I mean, you started it losing to Northeastern, and then the next day you lose to the Cajuns, right? That was just a really rough week, and they really never rebounded from that. Then they go and they play Vanderbilt, and they lose that series, a series they probably should have won. And that's kind of how the whole season was. There's games they should have won that they did not win. There really wasn't a game this year where LSU got lucky and won. You know what I mean? Like they had to earn everything. And so that's kind of the point in which I was like, all right, what's going on? But I always had a quiet confidence. Like I brought Will Helmers into the studio after that Sacramento State series. We sat down, we had a chat like, this happens, it's baseball, this and that. But it never really got turned around, and just when you thought they were about to turn it around, they fell flat again. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of things, man. It was the injuries, and I don't want to make excuses, but Stanley was hurt most of the year. Cooper Moore goes down halfway through the year. You had little things here and there with Kate Aaron Beatty. And then there's
Dardar's hurt.
Dardar was
hurt.
Caraway
being
was
hurt.
Cerna was getting hurt. Someone stepped on his hand. So you have that side of it. You also have the side with guys not developing, like guys tangibly took a step back this year that nobody expected, unfortunately.
Guys in the portal did not produce the way we thought they would coming in. That's
a big question too. Who was the best transfer on this team? I don't know that you can find a guy that was a hit entirely. Like Dardar had a good year and he had some great moments. Santi Garcia had some moments. Cooper Moore was pitching very well, in my opinion, and his season got derailed by injury. But besides that, nobody really held down a starting gig anywhere else, consistently. Nobody emerged as a gotta put him on the field type of guy like a Daniel Dickinson, or Chris Stanfield last year, just to name Anthony Ives, just to name a couple. They kind of missed on everybody for one reason or another.
The two people, I have two transfers, and I'm not hesitant. I would say Cooper Moore was the best transfer you got out of the portal last year until his elbow or his tricep, right? And my number two would be Dardar because injuries and I still think about opening day, going out there and sitting there, and opening day was such a great start to the year. It was like, okay, we're good, because that day was a brilliant day. You get the Gavin Guidry, love coming into the stadium. Dardar comes in, hits a pinch hit bomb in his first bat as a kid from Louisiana. Huh?
York had a homer that day, I think.
York had one, almost had two, should have had two, because they called it foul. But it was, the promise was there, and that's like one thing I've been trying every day to spend time, and I'm calling in my autopsy, trying to figure out what happened. Now, not knowing as much about in the locker room and stuff like that, it's harder. So I have my hypotheses, we'll say, about that section, because that's a big part that we just don't get to see into. We get a lot of news on. But man, it's just everything that could have went wrong. And like the whole season, like the Vanderbilt series, I came out and said, I think Vanderbilt's the top 5 team in the country. The way they played that weekend was a top 5 caliber team. Now they're not in the tournament either. And LSU didn't give up, and it just snowballed. You have Oklahoma come in and they beat you, and then you have
well, not to mention, they failed. I hate to say it, but they failed in 2 aspects of the game. The offense was good enough, I think, to be certain. You look at the statistics, they're middle of the SEC in pretty much everything offensively. You're middle of the SEC overall, you're in the tournament easily. Kentucky made the tournament, for crying out loud, Pitching, though, Cooper Moore's the only guy that I think had a sub-4 ERA in the entire pitching staff, and he only pitched for half of the season. So that was a big issue. Some of the guys you expected to be very good this year, their ERAs are just huge. It's the price of a sandwich at Subway, It's not what you want. And then defensively, just weren't good at all.
No.
Best defensive team in the program's history last year. This year, they lead the SEC with South Carolina in errors. I think they were in the 960s or something like that. You don't pitch well, you don't play good defense, and all you got's your offense. I don't feel great about your chances of being a great team, because you're putting too much pressure on that offense. And look at all the series to close the season. The offense played well against Mississippi State. It played well against Georgia for the most part, but you didn't pitch well, you didn't defend well, and that's what hurts you. And then look at the Auburn game. You're relying on that offense, all right, let's score some runs to win. You finally get a good effort defensively for the most part and from your pitching staff, and then your offense just doesn't show up. And that happens. You can't expect it every single game. That's why you got to be a complete team, holistic team, like they were last year. They played defense well. They had some great pitchers. Their offense wasn't like a world beater, but it was good enough to win, And so they had so many avenues to win any style of a game. And that's how baseball is. One day it's 4-3. The next day it's 7-2. And then the Sunday it's 25-20. Who knows? They couldn't win some of those styles of games, particularly the low scoring ones that required darn near perfect pitching and darn near perfect defense.
And the only caveat I'll give on the pitching, is Case Nevins. I don't think his numbers reflect how he did this year.
Yeah, he closed well. He did.
He did. I think he started off well. People forget the 15K game against Oklahoma. But you had guys, let's be honest, Dax Dothie didn't show up. Ethan Pogg didn't show up. Cooper Williams, Mac Rizzi. What happened there?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's and I think that with the defensive side, I don't know why I'm still trying to find reasoning for this stuff when it's obvious that it just was bad. But you had so much movement on, for instance, the infield with different guys, different positions.
Yep.
Trying a guy here, trying a guy there. Oh, this guy got hurt. Let's do this. You can't build any cohesiveness. The only cohesive part you have in the infield was Milam, and thank God you had him there.
Yeah. Same with the outfield too. I mean, when Stanley was injured, you're putting different guys in left, and then Jake goes down, and that makes it even tougher. And you have two offensive dominant catchers that did better with the wild pitches and stuff towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I think they had the most wild pitches in the SEC. I got the stats pulled up, and it wasn't even close.
I was trying to find the pass ball stat earlier because that's the one.
3 wild pitches. That is 9 more than Kentucky, who's second at 44, and that's just wild pitches.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that just makes things tougher because then a walk turns into a wild pitch, and then a single turns into a run. You do that, I don't know, 4 times a game. I mean, you're in a tough spot. So
if you went back and tried to cut up all the games to show that moment, you'd be on your computer for 2 days trying to cut them together.
Yeah. And I do have all of those still because those are key plays in a game that, everyone thinks about the home runs and the singles and the doubles, but just any kind of a free base, that they don't have to earn is what really is going to do you in. And there's some teams that played LSU this year, like Oklahoma, like Kentucky, that I don't think match up well talent for talent, but beat LSU because LSU beat itself,
And that's the thing that sucks so much about Wednesday in the Auburn game because you were in Auburn didn't beat you down. You gave up that game, and no disrespect to Ruckert, kid made a phenomenal play, made the right decision.
That was the right play. Yeah,
it happens. That's baseball, but that was just the worst scenario where it could have happened, and that's just what happens. To see them be able to fight like Case Nevins pitching phenomenal job that night pitching.
Yeah. And that was really good.
The offense wasn't fully clicking, but they were fighting. It was watching that game towards the end of it. I was like, it's going to come. I'd rather just gotten 10-run ruled. I'd rather would have just seen them lose to Oklahoma, move on. But I wouldn't have wanted that. But I don't want to see you just get beat yourself again.
Yeah. Well, that's the encouraging thing is that it didn't seem like they really ever gave up. They were competitive and they showed up. And even when, the other team put up a huge number in an inning, they didn't just kind of, like I do in the video game sometimes, hit the menu and sim to the end of the game because I'm so frustrated. They stood in there and they continued to chip away, and we did see the losing graphic a lot from the LSU baseball social media to end the season. But for the most part, they had a fighting chance to win, even in the last game against Auburn. Pearson's at the plate, and I think he would have been the game-winning run, right? Because they had 2 guys on.
I think game tying run.
Well, even then, you can't turn the game off because there's always an opportunity. And the offense and the way the team played, Mississippi State's another good example of that. They had chances. And what's crazy is you could probably go back through this schedule. I was thinking about this when they lost to Oklahoma on that Saturday and ended up losing the series in a game they probably should have won. Man, if you just change a couple games here and there, they got 12 wins. They got 13 SEC wins. And I'm not sitting in this chair right now. I'm probably at the station cutting together some previews for regionals, So despite all that went wrong this year, which was almost everything, they still were top 64 in RPI, if I'm not mistaken. And
look at all the teams that made the tournament that were early season non-cons.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, I believe Northeastern.
They got in.
UCF, like all these teams. Like UCF, you dogpiled.
I know. I can't believe they got in, because I went back recently and was like, all right, were we given a false, fool's gold at the beginning of the season? And Indiana had a bad year. Notre Dame had a bad year. UCF wasn't having a great year. And then I saw they were in the tournament. I was like, what? How'd they get in the tournament? So
it was.
Guess they turned it on, but
I still think, this year sucks. I get it. It's baseball, though. It's a sport. It doesn't really mean a lot. It's fun to talk about. It's, we love covering it, but at the end of the day, it's not life or death. The worst thing that happened, though, to NCAA baseball is giving Jay Johnson more offseason.
I know. I mean, that's what I've been telling everybody. There's a pattern here. They lose in regionals in 22. They win the Natty in 23. They lose in regionals in 24. They win the Natty in 25. Like, he's got so much time right now to go through film, watch other teams play, and there's going to be no conflicts with guys visiting. Like, they've lost guys in the past because they've had to play in Omaha, this thing called the College World Series. It's kind of a big deal, I hear. And they haven't been able to bring guys in on visits because they've been there and they've lost out on them. That's not going to happen now, So I got the utmost confidence that he's going to find what he wants in the portal. He'll have to make some hard decisions, though. I think he's going to change his approach this time around with developing homegrown talent and not relying too much on the portal, So he'll have to pick and choose the guys that he thinks maybe won't be ready for next season, and the guys that he has confidence in developing further.
Yeah, and with that in mind, like losing guys like Henry Ford, but granted, I love guys like Mikey Ryan. I'm happy they're having the success they're having, but there's a reason why he's having success at, I'm going to say, that level. I know it's D1, but it's not the SEC.
It's different. I think that he's had a good year wire to wire. Ryan Costello, I know, got off to a really hot start, but his numbers kind of fade. And this isn't a shot at him, but people were looking at him like he was the next coming of Christ, and for what he was doing in Maryland, and his numbers kind of dwindled as the year went on. I think his conference batting average was in like the low 200s, but Mikey Ryan's been pretty steady throughout from what I've seen. So that's a guy that you would have loved to have at second base this year, right?
Yeah.
Or third.
Yeah. Or both. Hopefully same game. Just not Jared Jones at third. But
I don't know the extent of – I saw Mikey Ryan in the Superdome at a state championship football game because he's from there. And I didn't really get into a discussion with him about – because the football game's going on. I got to film it. But I would love to know kind of what that situation was, because he got opportunities, some freshman year. Was he kind of softly booted out the door? Did he want to leave on his own volition? Kind of what happened there,
Like I kind of look at Ryan kind of like Mick Paul. It was kind of one of those things where great team guy. He just and you said it very politely, softly being pushed out the door, maybe. But I look at also as Jay going, hey, you're not going to get the time here. And I don't want you to just sit here and just rot on the bench when you have talent to go develop, go play type deal.
Yeah.
Because
something happened, though, because, damn, he had a good year. I mean, that year would have played. I don't know if the numbers translate directly, but, damn, that would have played here. The defense and what he did offensively.
The defense alone.
And it's different, too, because Mick, I think, was a third or a fourth-year player, if I'm not mistaken. So his clock is ticking. Yeah. He needs to go somewhere where he can play. I don't know that he would have played this year. Mikey was just a freshman. Like, he had time, So I don't know.
Yeah, and another thing, so I'm going to touch on that. Well, one thing I want people to remember is we talk about, the pattern here, 22 national championship, 24 national championship. People forget they shouldn't have made a regional in 22. Like, that wasn't a good baseball team in 22. Yeah. And they got to Southern Miss and they kind of outplayed. And then in 24, they had to go on the run they had to go on this year to get there. And they almost beat North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to bring it up again, but the idiots who just live on social media and want to tear down kids. But speaking of the transfer portal and the draft, I'm not going to say what I want to say right now because I'm going to respect the player and respect the parents. I think somebody kind of gave a hat tip today.
Oh,
What do
yeah?
you? How do you think the transfer portal does? Is it kind to LSU this year, and is the draft a killer? I don't think the draft's going to kill us as much as we think it will.
Okay, interesting. I must have missed whatever you're referring to. But okay. I think the portal will be as nice to LSU as it wants to be, you know? Like, it's just a matter of what we were discussing a minute ago. What kind of approach does Jay want to take? Like, does he want to really emphasize the talent he's already got on the roster and the high school guys? Oh, I did see that, actually. Or gotcha. Or, you know, does he want to bring in like a Tommy White if there's one available out there? Does he want to bring in, you're not going to find a Paul Skeens, but a Paul Skeens type of guy? You know what I mean? So the question is the resources, you know, I mean, how much does he have and how competitive can you be against the draft and against some of these other schools and maybe have more resources? That's something I don't know. It's something I wanted to ask, but he wasn't really answering big picture questions while they still had games to play. That's more something I'd like to ask this week if we get to speak with him. So I think, I mean, the allure of LSU is still there. Like, it speaks for itself, and there will be opportunity. I think that, you know, maybe you want an option at third. Maybe you want an option at second. Maybe you want an option in left or right field, you know, and I think that Jay, instead of bringing in a big portal class like he did this year, maybe picks and chooses and cherry picks to get some of the elite talent that's in there and really push all his resources into that and find that good cornucopia of those transfer portal guys and the homegrown talent, you know?
And because you talk about big name guys, I doubt it's going to happen. I'd love to get that kid, Hairston, who's a national player of the year from Arizona State, who just, I think he slugged 900, hit over 400. I bet Arizona State's going to do whatever they need to do to keep him there. But speaking of resources, and we're not going to get deep into that. I know your job. I'm not going to put you in hot water. But there is one question I have for you, because I heard this on a broadcast, and I haven't seen anything else on it. I don't know if Ronnie or Lynn or Ben, I think it was Ben, said something they shouldn't have said. They said something about either $2 or $2.5 million like angel donor, like a booster, just like, hey, here's $2. I don't want to, don't say that you shouldn't say, but is there any weight to that claim, or is it just like a in the wind?
Not that I know of. No.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because
I heard it on a broadcast, and then our good friend, our mutual friend David Billiot, brought it up to me. We were talking about stuff, and because I'm texting him, I'm mad at Verge, but it's, you know, he's like, yeah, I heard this on the broadcast. I heard the same thing, but it didn't make any sense, and I haven't heard anything else from it. So hopefully Jay gets the money he needs. I think he deserves it, in my opinion. But if you I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot there. That's one thing I definitely don't want to do. But
I haven't heard about that. I can definitely dig into it, and it surely wouldn't hurt, you know, especially if I didn't answer your question about the draft side. But, you know, if you want to put out a competitive offer for Stephen Milam and for Derek Curiel, maybe for Devin Sheeran, you know, like guys that you could really benefit from coming back and make it worth their while. I mean, can't have enough, in my opinion, you know, and this needs to be a big bounce back year. I mean, it really does. You know, the expectations are here, and they fell way short of those, and, you know, something very out of the norm, and it happens, you know, and Jay has certainly earned some, you know, obviously credibility, but some grace, you know, to have a season like that. But the bounce back needs to be felt, you know, definitely.
Yeah.
Nobody understands that more than him. So
no.
Hopefully Verge does too, or whoever decides where the money's going, you know.
I'm going to refrain from speaking on that out of respect for you and my love for you. I'm just going to be good Paul tonight.
I got nothing to do with it. I'm not the one that makes these decisions, but if I would put the resources where you know, the money comes from. So you got to take care of the programs that make the money for you, but also the programs that have proven they're successful, which is pretty much all of them. But I mean, 2 titles in 3 years. What other programs on campus can say that?
No other head coach in NCAA baseball history can say that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's a line, I mean, I think baseball's got to be there,
And it's the last thing I'm going to say about it. But the thing to me is, it's not like, so my big harp has been women's basketball. It's like, okay, yes, football, you have to feed that machine. You have to. Men's basketball is profitable. You have to feed what makes money. Women's basketball, yes, you get the marketing and the branding, which is multipliers of what you spent. I get it. But Jay has shown you that he's going to bring you national championships, which means more money from the SEC, from TV revenue during the NCAA tournament, more butts and seats in the postseason with regionals and super regionals on site. You got to throw the man a bone. He's not looking for all the women's budget. He wants, like, if my numbers are correct, a third of the women's budget. So, but speaking of the draft, so this 5-for-5 deal, I was talking to some people very close to the camps of the people we talk about leaving for the draft this year, with Curiel, Milam, Brown, so on and so forth, right? And from what I understand, the 5-for-5 is going to come into a big play with these decisions. And I think it came out now that there were some talks being had between the coaching staff and the program and some players. How much emphasis do you think that holds on guys like, I would say more guys like Curiel and Brown, because I love Steven to death. He's the monster. To me, he's the best shortstop in OSU baseball history. That's saying a lot. But I don't think he has much more to show. I'm not saying he doesn't have a higher ability, but how much better can a season be than what you just had?
I think you could say that about all of them, I mean, what can Derek gain from coming back? I mean, he just had 2 incredible seasons of bat-to-ball contact and stellar defensively in left field, and then he goes and there's no drop-off in center field. I mean, sure, you could say, hey, he needs to hit at least 10 homers, but, I mean, maybe that's just not his game. You know what I mean? Like, Derek's, when he's at his best, he's going the opposite way. Hard hit, singles and doubles, man, and then just causing havoc on the base paths as well, and just being so stout defensively. Like, I don't think it's in his best interest to come back to school just to prove to scouts that he can hit, a couple more home runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's the side for all of these guys. Like, I interviewed Steven's mom, Marcy, who's delightful.
Sweetheart.
And I mean, there's certainly a factor here of this isn't how I want to go out, especially for Steven, So I think the 5-for-5 could be beneficial, and a player like Steven having another year of leverage with the draft, and kind of retain that slot value. But he's getting older, I mean, you can't play this game forever and ever. So sometimes you got to strike when the iron's hot, and there's no guarantees that you come back and have the same season you had the year before, and your stock might plummet a little bit, so these are tough decisions for all of them, but I think that a 5-for-5 would help some with that leverage, and even some guys this year that are going to be seniors next season. It helps them retain some of that, because that's the biggest argument always as well. If you come back, you lose your leverage, you're going to make pennies on the dollar, when you finally go and decide to play professionally. So this would help with some of those decisions. But I mean, but by the other token, you're a year older. You put yourself at risk for injury. You put yourself at risk for your numbers dropping. So I think for all of these guys, I mean, they've had such stellar runs here and great resumes that I don't know if coming back would help them. So for them, it would have to come down to the money, the 5-for-5, and then the personal side of, hey, I want to come back and really go out the right way, not like this,
And you're absolutely right on everything you said, especially about Curiel. My only caveat with Curiel is this. His draft stock won't get lower. For instance, he has a stellar freshman year. He had an amazing back half of the year. He had a good first half of the year. It wasn't bad, but he was trying to play into that weight he gained, and it wasn't really working. He was struggling going backside, right? He was striking out a lot more. I think, in my personal opinion, no offense, Derek, I love you, DC6, but I think he put on weight too fast. I think he tried to put on a little too much weight, try to get some power numbers up, but he didn't need it. And he ended up kind of losing some weight if you watch him through the season and having better numbers and going backside a lot better. It really turned on at the end of the year. To me, him coming back shows he can have a better wire to wire year because his draft stock's not going to drop. He's not going to become a second, third round pick. He's still going to be a mid round first pick, but he has the opportunity to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, maybe so. But, you know, I mean, being a 2-year and out younger guy like him, I mean, that has its benefits too. You know, I mean, people always side on the side of the younger player and the guy with the most upside and stuff. And so if he goes now, I mean, he can just get a head start and a jump start on things quicker and have maybe a longer career, you know? And so it's up to him. I mean, based on things that just being close to the situation, it seemed like the plan always was 2 and go, and his 2 years were just spectacular. So I don't know that he has a ton to gain from coming back in terms of improving his stock. It's pretty damn high. And I think people, if they have the chance to be a first round pick, they're going to take it, you know, and I don't blame them at all. So I
just wish the Braves had a pick somewhere in that 10 to 20 range to pick him up.
But I think middle to end first round, which is still great. I mean, that's a lot of money. And, you know, I see him being very successful. So it's just the start of a lot of money that's going to get put in his, you know, possession and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. And as far as the gaining weight thing, I listened to Mic'd Up a lot, you know, with Mikey Montuk and Jared Mitchell and Lloyd Courtney. And
great guys.
They got into a really, because I don't know baseball like they obviously. They talked about this whole gaining weight and how it translates to power and stuff. They don't really believe in that. They don't really believe in that just because you gain weight, your power numbers are going to go up. You know, it's a lot of different things. So I don't know that if he gained 15 more pounds, it would even help next offseason working with Chris Martin and them, you know? So I don't know. These are all going to be tough. I mean, I was talking to Steven's mom about it a little bit. They have no idea what he's doing right now. I don't think, at least. I mean, or at least that's how she presented it to me. You know, like they're going to have to really sit down, read the pros, the cons, and really weigh everything and make the best decision on that. But she said, I mean, the next month, whatever it is till draft day is like going to be the worst. You know, it was like it was a prison sentence in a way. So,
and I'll say this, Mikey and Jay Mitch, all of them, completely right. Because you could look at Zach York. How much more, not trying to pick on him, how much more is he weigh than Jake Brown? Jake Brown's numbers were phenomenal. It depends on how you use that weight.
Yeah.
Period. Speaking of spending money, how many court cases is Will Wade going to be in from bringing this European League to Baton Rouge?
Most of them are legit, it seems like, but there's a couple where it's like, what? Like, is this a video game? Like, this guy's already been drafted and he wants to come back to school. Even for those guys, I'm like, maybe we just move on with our life, you know? I mean, I was like, how are you going to go from I got drafted to now I'm back in college classes within a year or two? You know, it's just crazy.
I got to be honest about it. When that guy Bediako, when Bama signed that kid Bediako from the G League, I saw everything everybody else does, and I just went, what are we doing? This guy signed, it's different if you, like, say, for instance, Derek Curiel signed a minor league contract, decided he wanted to play quarterback at LSU.
Yeah, that's totally different. We've seen that many times. Yeah.
But then Will Wade comes back, and I kind of anticipated this. I went, Will Wade's going to – because the one thing about Will Wade that is funny, he's always going to push the envelope. He wants that rule to change. But if you're not going to change it, I'm not only going to use it, I'm going to shove it in your face. I'm going to go get 7 of them.
Yeah, so, and again, most of them, I think, are eligible and fine, even though they played Euro ball and stuff. I mean, that's happened before, too. And other colleges were recruiting some of them, too, like Kentucky and Kansas and Duke and so on and so forth. I like it. I think it's creative, you know. And you're going to have a bunch of really older guys, like guys my age. And I feel like I was in college a decade ago at this point, playing against
26 young
kids, you know? Yeah. I mean, your physical maturity and basketball smart, I mean, just a huge advantage there. And I like it, you know, and if that's what it takes to really get this thing rolling, and then you can kind of build it in a more traditional way and stuff, like some of the other schools, then so be it. And I feel like a team with guys and I've watched some of the film of these. I mean, they look like good players, like I feel like this could be successful. It could be good. So, I know people were concerned about this whole he only has one player kind of thing, but I think he was kind of just waiting for the chess pieces to align and stuff. And it seems like things are working out. So I like it. It's creative. It's out of the box, and I think it'll work out for him. I don't know that everybody's going to be able to play. Like RJ Lewis is a guy. He's the guy that got drafted, right, or whatever. I don't think he's going to be eligible, but the other guys I think will be. So
you look at Bediako, there's a precedent.
Yeah. So that's different, though. I think getting drafted and playing G League is different, and playing preseason NBA games is different than playing in a professional league overseas.
Well, it's so yes and no. We all look at if you look at I'm not a big basketball follower. I'll be completely honest with you. I've watched basketball when Jordan played, like a long time ago. But I know the European League is like minor league basketball. Like Stephon Marbury went overseas whenever his time in the NBA was done, and he was successful in Italy and Japan and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So to compare it to the NBA, it's kind of a stretch to me, and it's kind of like it's not. It wasn't even playing. You can make the argument he wasn't even playing professional basketball in America. Like there is no oversight on that.
Well, I think high school kids have been playing in these leagues for forever, and like Franz Wagner, like that family. I think those guys played on those teams, and then they came to college. Like hockey, these guys go and play minor league hockey, and then they go to college for a couple years. Like sometimes the sports kind of work backwards, especially when it's not in America. And they don't have all the organization and franchises and stuff that we have here. So that's what kids do over there. They mature quickly, and they start to play in these leagues as young kids. And some of them spend 5 years, some of them spend 2, and then they come over here, and it's just kind of weird how it works out. But, I'd imagine Will's not going to take the floor with one guy and a bunch of walk-ons. So he's pretty confident that most of these guys will be able to play. Like they have compliance departments at the schools for this exact reason.
Yeah, I'm sure they beefed up compliance when they hired Will Wade and Lane Kiffin. I'm sure they –
Yeah, that office, there's never a dull moment in there, I bet, But then again, what are the rules? Does anybody know what the rules are? Because I know. It's basically anarchy at this point. Who can be the best among the anarchs?
Well, it turns into – like the story comes out yesterday or the day before yesterday about the NCAA opening the investigation, the beginning stages.
Didn't that happen months ago? That whole Pete Golding and that was like forever ago. I forgot about that. Dabo
Swinney going to the podium. The NCAA had the evidence before Dabo ever went to the podium. Yeah. And they're just now starting. And I heard, I want to give credit to Joe DeLeon and Blake Ruffino on Ruffino and Joe show. Joe brought up a good point. Did Ole Miss pay the buyout? And he had a great solution for this. And you would know, this kind of ties into what you're talking about with hockey and stuff like that. It's similar to soccer where you have a transfer fee. It's similar to a buyout, I guess, probably, but a transfer fee amongst these schools. Is that where they have to go with the transfer portal now to settle everything? Because this isn't going to stop. The kid was enrolled in classes.
Yeah, I hate it. I mean, there's always been a difference between the NFL and college football, and now they're becoming similar. But at least the NFL is even more structured at this point, it seems like. This is literally a video game in real life. I mean, no, are schools directly talking to athletes? Maybe not, but there's middlemen, there's agents. You know what I mean? So it may as well be just talking to them. It's like if you're at a bar with your friend and your wingman goes and talks to the girl you think's cute at the bar. You're not talking to each other directly, but you're talking to each other. Is she single? What's her number? This and that. That conversation is being had indirectly, and it's the same with this stuff.
And I'm sure you have a work phone. I'm sure you have your personal phone. You have a WAFB phone, right? And you probably know how to take your work phone and have it send the messages to your work phone to your personal phone. Yeah. You're not telling me agents aren't sitting there connecting their phones to their clients going, hey, boom.
Yeah, no, it's just it's chaotic. It's crazy. I don't like it. And I'm glad they are starting to institute things like cutting the spring transfer portal. That was good. I think that kind of regulates things at least a little bit. They got a lot more work to do, though, as far as I'm concerned. So
I'm going to get, because I can't wait to see you cover more LSU football, by the way. And I'm not trying to gas you up because you're on here. I've told you this on the side. You do an amazing job of what you do, and we're
Thank
very
you.
lucky to have you here in Baton Rouge.
I'm lucky to be here.
How has the state, prior to Ed Orgeron coming to campus, how has Lane brought, because I feel like Lane has went out with guys like Kevin Smith and Eric something, can't remember his name, and George McDonald, and they brought this state back into like, hey, you're sending your guys to LSU now, right?
Mhm.
It's no longer the Brian Kelly days or the Les Miles days, right? Where it's like we're fighting Alabama to get guys. It's like, no, you got to go through us first.
Mhm.
How has Lane Kiffin came in and been able to do that so quickly, seeing that he never recruited?
Well, he's embraced it, like he's getting in the car and he's getting in the SUVs and he's driving up to Ruston and he's going to Cecilia, and he's going to Rummel and Edna Carr. He himself, not, I've been at practices before and I see assistant coaches. I'd see Frank Wilson. I would see who's the DN's coach? His name's escaping me.
Kevin Peoples.
Kevin Peoples. I'd see Kevin, but I'd never see Brian Kelly. Like, only time I saw Brian Kelly out was at LSU's 7-on-7 event, which is held a quarter mile from the indoor. Like, I would never see him really, and I'm not everywhere, so I'm sure he was, and I wasn't there. But for Lane to be out and to be the face and representing and doing it from day one is great, like, that's the thing that I think's allowed him to succeed, is that he understands what this is and he's not straying away from it or acting pretentious or I'm above thee. He's diving in, and he's going to the parades and he's doing the just basic things that people in Louisiana do, all the way up to, going on recruiting trips and hosting practices and things like that. So, it's an all-star recruiting staff. And you also have to give people reasons to want to come play here. Like, the product hasn't been good the past couple of years. And so you've lost guys. So you've done a good job laying the foundation. Now you got to go play some good football, and you got to bring back vintage LSU and the winning and all that, and I think kids are looking for reasons to stay. There's no doubt about that. Some of them just want to get out of here. And there's been examples of that over the years, and that's fine. But most of them want to stay here and play here. So now give them reasons to want to do that.
And like for instance, and the guy, I'm going to harp him. I'm going to bother him until he either blocks me or he comes on the show, Kevin Smith. You look at a guy like Blake Baker. He doesn't need to indoctrinate himself into Louisiana culture. He is Louisiana culture, right? That's my bounce off, because you never see Blake out there doing the parade routes, things like that. But just that one video of Kevin Smith driving down the road, bumping, set it off in his car.
Yeah.
Not even a month into being here, it's like, okay, we're in. We got you, right? Now you add Coach O. And he's only doing it for $100,000. And I secretly believe he was recruiting before he got the job. One, I'll be honest, I'm surprised he got the job. I'm surprised he was given the opportunity to come back. I did not see it happen. I know he made a lot of people mad.
I think Lane gets whatever he wants. I mean,
exactly.
So,
and I think a lot of people are they're not overplaying or overemphasizing the Edo impact. I think it's a big impact. I know a lot of recruits love the fact that he's back.
Yeah. How
substantial is, with a guy like Lane Kiffin right there, how substantial is the impact of Coach O being back? What did Lane need?
I mean, some of this staff is like Corey Raymond and Blake Baker and so on and so forth. But a lot more of it is, it's kind of been a carousel, and it's been with Lane and at FAU and at Ole Miss, and so it's not Louisiana. Like, I think you go take a poll of most kids that are in high school right now, of when they think of LSU, what do they think of? It's not necessarily, it's a different answer for them than it is for you. Like, you probably think of, Tyrann Mathieu and some of these great, Nick Saban, 03, 07, Les Miles, 11, all that. These kids, it's 2019. Like, that was like, they were in middle school. Social media was a big deal. Like, that's what they think of. And who was the guy at the front of that? It was Coach O, and now he's on the staff and legitimately, again, recruiting for LSU. Like, he hasn't gone anywhere. He's still been out and about. He's been at Patrick Queen's stadium dedication ceremony. He's been all the state championship football games in the Superdome. He's just there, just vibing, and he's never really gone anywhere. So now to have him as an ace, and he's, monetarily, obligated to do well for you and not just kind of being a presence and whatever, is massive, because he goes into any high school, everybody knows who he is. He goes to any, camp, 7-on-7 event, whatever it is, everybody knows who he is, and he can just pitch the school and the program differently than a Kevin Smith and a Lane Kiffin, because he's lived it and he's been to the pinnacle in it, So I don't think it does anything to bring positives for what they're trying to do from a football standpoint. Now there's the whole other side of it, which is the PR and the people that feel wronged. And I understand that. But just from an X's and O's and a football perspective, it's a great hire for them.
Yeah. I've posts I've made, like, I haven't been pumping O, but it's like, hey, welcome back, O, that type of thing. Like, oh, I can't believe he's back. And I'm like, come on. Like, if the people he really, like, he did more to the people in power than he did to any of us. If they can bring him back, I think we'll be okay, because this took a lot more.
We're always there too. Like, he and Lane are tight, and Lane brought him up in his introductory presser. Like, it's just, his name has been at the tip of the tongue for a lot of people recently. It seemed like something that was going to happen.
As soon as I saw the happy anniversary to his wife in Tiger Stadium, I went, uh-oh.
Yeah. He even came back to a baseball game randomly on a Tuesday. It was like, what? It was like his first appearance in a long time. And so I think this has been going down behind the scenes for a while. It was the weirdest thing. I was driving back from St. James. They had a spring game against Donaldsonville. Phone blows up or lights up, and I'm driving into the station. It's like 9:30 or something. Oh, Coach O's back from Michael Bonnet press release. What a weird time to drop that news, So.
Right. Let's ease the Auburn loss. Coach O's back.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. I think it had something to do with the fact that Barstool Sports was in town, and they ended up interviewing him. And so I don't know, maybe they didn't want anything to come up, and they weren't at the forefront of it, or get leaked. So
they did a good job of it, because when PMT came, I was looking at who's with Lane.
Yeah.
Who's around this crew right now? Who else is posting photos with?
They didn't show. Really?
They didn't show anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, all right. But when they announced it, I went, oh yeah, they've interviewed O. Like, that's
cool. They did. I have to go listen. I was starting to listen to it before we came on here. But yeah, then you start to connect the dots. Like, oh, okay, I see now. So.
So a couple more things real quick. We'll get you out of here. I promise. Thank you so much for your time, by the way. I've taken up too much of it. Since you've been here in Baton Rouge, and it's affected you even before you got here, what has been your favorite moment while you've been here? Like, what's the one thing that, like, later on, whenever you're a Emmy winning, was it the Thunder Thighs short, or was it like the Emmy winning, later on in life from ESPN or whatever broadcast you do, you look back and go, this is what I loved about Louisiana?
That's such a hard question to answer. It really is, because I like to think like every day there's been something,
Baton Rouge ain't that fun.
No, it's fun. Believe me, it's fun. I don't know. Even just sitting down and editing through things from this St. James football game, like hearing the air horn they blare after a touchdown, that's sick. And you just don't hear that everywhere, and that is so.
They don't do that up north?
No. People don't really care about high school football that much where I come from. It's just special, it is all the Friday nights. But then I've also been on the field for a regional celebration, a super regional celebration, and we're going to Omaha celebration, and we're celebrating a national championship. So like that stuff's all sick too. And just being around that. I kind of blacked out in the moment, but just running across the length of the outfield at Charles Schwab, literally sprinting to catch up with Jared Jones, holding the trophy up to the fans. Like, what? That is insane, and doing it legally and not being a streaker. That's just nuts. But, I don't know. I think that's so hard to come up with on the spot. It really is. But, there was a cool story I did. Maybe I'll go with this one. Like, Central football, their high school team, hadn't won a state championship since like 1966.
Yep.
And so covering that season start to finish was cool. But I did a story where I reached out, tried to herd the troops, so to speak, herd the cattle. And we were able to get a handful of people still living here, still alive from that 1966 team together. And it was like the first time they'd seen each other in years. And I did a story on that. It didn't have any video of them winning the games. It was so long ago. And, you know, I don't know if that footage even exists, but just kind of capturing the moment of them reliving those days and those times they had together, and kind of the responsibility I had to kind of set that up, but also kind of the power is not the right word, but like the ability to kind of start that, you know, and to create these memories for people that they otherwise wouldn't. Like, I don't know if they would have met up with each other any other way than if to work on this story. So like, that's like the first thing that popped into my head, just getting to do cool things like that, where you kind of set off the dominoes and get to do something really cool. And then the next day or whatever, they ended up winning the state championship too. They beat Ruston like 42-0, which was just crazy. Yeah. So to kind of be a part of history like that, to relive it and then to make more of it was awesome. And I don't know that that's something that's just genuine and specific to Louisiana. I think the fact that people live here, they grow up here and they stay here is specific to Louisiana. Like, I don't know if there's many other places around the country where you can round up 20 to 30 guys that run a football team in high school 60 years ago on 1 or 2 days notice, like you can here. But that was pretty special and cool, I'd say. But I mean, it's every day, man. It really is every day. Like Tuesday midweek games, nobody packs in as many fans as LSU does when the baseball team is you know,
is good
fun to watch. You know, I mean, not to mention the SEC weekend. So yeah. But then while that's going on, you got a high school baseball state championship in Sulphur that goes to 15 innings where there's a walk-off walk that actually isn't. And then, yeah, it's just, it never stops here. You know, it's crazy.
Then you have the first round of the NCAA women's bracket going on across the street at the Maravich Center, and the women's basketball team is playing. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest now. I'm curious to see how this, I'm with Lane and Will and Jay and Kim, it's kind of like, all right, did you set up the dominoes to fall? How is this going to work? Because you got a lot of personality you got to keep happy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Verge and Heath have their work cut out for them for that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. There's going to be no lack of, and they all support each other. It seems like they all show up to each other's games, you know, and stuff like that. But I mean, you need money to win, and they all need it. And so I could see that being an issue, you know, in the future, possibly. So
what? We'll so where would you like to see yourself in? Let's go 10 years. You're a young man. You're going to be, you know, what, 34 then? So, like, where would you, if you had to, like, you had the crystal ball right now, you could say, I want to pick my future in 10 years. What is your goal in your career?
I don't know. I used to have an answer for that. I don't really anymore because I didn't think I'd enjoy the first place I worked as much as I have here, you know? And so, like, I view this as a possible destination, even though it's kind of the start as well, you know? Like, I'm not really kind of looking at something else. Like, I'd really like to get to here because this is pretty cool, you know? And the grass isn't always greener, as they say, you know? Like, I kind of stray away from being a national guy and stuff because it's hard to really, like, have an informed opinion and make relationships when you're kind of just, you know, stopping in once a year at places, you know, whereas here you're seeing people every day, you know, and you really know boots on the ground, what's going on. Really, when I look at a decade from now, it's more so about personal things and stuff that I hope to accomplish more so than it is career. You know what I mean? Like starting a family and being a good father and being happy every day with what I'm doing. It's more so about that than it is the work and what city I want to work in and what job I want to have and how much money I make, you know? So it's kind of a cop-out answer. But I hope that people can understand that, like, you know, this place is a little bit different than
Odessa,
you know, where it's a place you want to get out of. Like here, it's a place that you could enjoy, you know, if you really embrace it and allow yourself to enjoy it, you know? which
Well,
I feel like I've been able to do.
I think I can speak for the entire fan base when I say we want you to have all the success you want to have, but if you're the next Jacques Doucet and you're here forever, we'll love to see it.
Thank you. I'm open to that. So that's why it's hard for me to answer that question, because usually that's an answer that involves I want to move away and I want to work for this company and I want to be like, super rich and all this and that. But like, that's not really the answer that I have for that, if I'm being completely honest. So
I didn't think that would be your answer. That's why I asked it.
Nah, you got me there. I hate answering that question, honestly. I really do. Because you tend to forget about where your feet are when you answer that, and you dream about that. But what if you're living the dream right now? I mean, what if you are? you kind of just
trust me, I've been there.
Past that,
Trust me, I've been there. And yeah. Well, you better watch out these bars now, because you see how many people get drugged back here from Louisiana women that went to LSU, right?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I stepped foot in a bar, though, so that's my problem there.
Get better. That's good. That's good, man. Well, John, first of all, Game Time. Make sure everybody goes and checks out Game Time. You just had a recent episode with Brad Bass.
Yep.
Which was a great interview,
awesome.
By the way. It was a great interview.
Oh,
and you had Tingle and Co. Who are always fun guys. Like Noah and Lloyd are always fun. And slept on. I don't think enough people know about this. So, like, I'll give you a little insight into my life. NCAA college football comes out 25. I go buy a PS5. I have a kid at home. My wife's pregnant. I'm going to buy a PlayStation. I work shift work. I'm finding time. I got a little too invested in NCAA college football 25. So, but lately, 2 kids, renovating the house, I have time. You fill that void with your YouTube channel through your Akron series and your Dynasty, because I'll be sitting here doing editing and cuts, and I got you in the background just going.
Well, thanks.
So,
I've been very bad at that recently. Baseball season, I find it very hard to find the time to do it. So it's really a summer and kind of during football season thing when my schedule is a little more consistent. I hopped on the other day for the first time in 2 weeks, and we got to win the game to get into the playoffs, and I just sucked. I got blown out. I don't know if you watched. I simmed the game to the end, and I never do that. But everything went wrong. Maryland came in and just ruined our season, and I was pissed. I don't think I was ever going to pick up the controller and play again. Then I hopped on today before we jumped on here with Syracuse, and I beat Boston College 63-10. So I might be back. I might be hopping back on. But I was out. I was genuinely depressed with my performance. It was the worst I'd ever played, ever. So I think people enjoy when I play like crap because I'm more emotional. So maybe go give that one a watch and just watch me crash out. I did. And I usually don't, but I was pissed.
And just hearing you talk about your recruiting for your roster on NCAA, I don't want to sacrifice you to football, but as long as we can get you back for postseason baseball, you need to cover football. I'm going to say, Jock. I know you're not going to see this, but Jock.
I do a lot of high school coverage because that's the void that's there. And so high school's my thing for sure. And Jacques lets me do a little bit of football here and there. We're kind of making some changes to our strategy with how we're doing things. So I know there will be more opportunities for me this season, which is cool. So there you go. So yeah, that's what I know. I'd love to do more, but I understand the hierarchy, and Jacques has been doing that for a long time. And who am I to come in here and say, hey, you need to let me do this? Like, no, I mean, it's his thing, and he's very good at it. And he's allowed me to do some things here and there, which is very kind of him. He doesn't need to do that. But he is going to let me do a little more this year, which is cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
You can't say this, I will. You've been taking a lot of vacations, Jacques. You're going to a lot of concerts. I see you social media, Jacques. I mean,
he has the same off days that we do. He just is much more ambitious. I like to just kind of kick my feet up and do some cleaning and take a breath. He will go to a concert in Houston and come back and then cover a baseball game the same day. More power to him. And not to mention he was dealing with that traffic on the bridge coming back from Lafayette. You know what that means. So, yeah, trust me, he's working still. people could say that about me. I'm all up on YouTube and playing a fictional game and stuff on my off days. Maybe
You're
I'm
working.
taking too much
You're
vacation,
working, man.
so.
You're working. I know you're working because I see you. She's gonna kill me for saying this. Whenever like I started doing some of this stuff and I met you and I dragged David up. Like the reason I came and talked to you that day, David Billiot was like, "Hey man, I'd like to go meet John." I'm like, "Go talk to him." He's like, "But he's busy." I'm like, "Come on, let me hold my hand. Let Dad bring you over here." That's and I'm happy we did it because you're a wonderful person. You're great at what you do, and just getting to know you has been a blessing of starting this and doing this. Because I mean, I'm nobody in the scheme of all this, but saying you're a friend is awesome. And where was I going with it? Oh yeah, my wife. She sees the photo. She's like, "You met John Eads?" I said, "Yeah, I met John Eads." She goes, "What was he like?" I'm like, "He's awesome, like he always is." And every time we go to the ballpark, she goes, "There's John." I went, "Stop looking at John's thighs. Stop doing
Y'all
it."
can just come say hi. I mean, I don't.
Oh no, I do. I'll bug you. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I'll walk into Kevin Smith's office tomorrow if I wouldn't get arrested.
Yeah.
But by the way, I have to clarify this. Daily Joy did not know I was putting that short out, but I was like, this has to go out.
It's okay. I appreciate the compliments and everything. It was very nice. I didn't know what to say.
I was like, I hope that didn't go, like, my shorts don't get watched that much. I hope that didn't feed through the news office. I hope that didn't.
I don't even care. People pick on me all the time for my shorts length and my shirts lack of size, and I don't even care. It just rolls off me at this point. I mean, I played in a hockey locker room, so I've heard it all.
Oh yeah.
So,
and
so
they don't. Go ahead. My bad.
Oh, I was going to say I was at Lutcher's state championship baseball game against Bruley, and I'm standing behind home plate, and what do I hear from someone behind me? "Hey, Thunder Thighs." Like, you heard that? Are you serious? A Lutcher high school baseball parent. Like, what? And I knew, like, so they said, "Hey, John," and I didn't know if he was talking to me. I ignored it the first time because I didn't know if I didn't want to turn around if he wasn't talking to me, like, But then I heard Thunder Thighs. I was like, why the hell else would he say that? And so I turn around, and sure enough, he's trying to get my attention.
I feel like a terrible person now. I feel like a terrible person now. I am so.
Oh, you could be called worse. I mean,
you look good,
I've been called worse. So.
I was about to say, like, everybody giving you crap in the office, they've ate too much gumbo and jambalaya, and they didn't walk enough. That's the problem, right?
I don't know.
I'll say it.
What's funny is that it comes from guys that grew up in the era where the basketball shorts were literally underwear, and my shorts aren't that short. You know what I mean? So it's like we're a little hypocritical here.
Yeah. And the shorts coming back.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring them back. As far as the shirt thing, I'm giving 3 polos. I've had them since the day I started. I'm not one to ask for more. If they want to give me a large, I'll wear a large. But till then, it is what it is.
It looks good.
I don't care either because it gets so hot and muggy out there. When I show up to the park, I want it to look like I just played. I don't need to be in a suit and all fancy and all this. It's just not going to work. So
take this solace. Daily Joy tells me every girl when she brings you up says your biceps. One guy told you Thunder Thighs. So there's a balance there. It's good for John.
I promise I don't skip legs. I promise. So thanks for heading that up, Paul. Yeah.
I'm a terrible person. I'm so sorry.
I hope people. I don't know. I mean,
I feel terrible. I've ruined the interview. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I never know what to say to people when they say that to me. It's like, thanks.
I put in the work.
Yeah.
But you need to just flex it one time. Like, look at that quad. You see the separation there? It's good.
God, no.
Because think about it. Because look, I don't have many, but I have photos when I was your age. You're 24. I was coming home from my deployment. I was in the best shape of my life. You would not believe I was the same person.
Yeah.
2 kids later.
Well, I spend like 2 hours a day on that stuff. And when you have kids and stuff, you don't have 2 hours. You don't have 2 hours for yourself just to breathe. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of
2-year-old and 1-year-old.
I can. What'd you say?
2-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Yeah, no, those days, I know I'm hoping they're coming for me at some point. I look forward to them, but not for a little while longer, because I know how that goes.
It's so bad. I'm thinking about doing a video series this summer because there's going to be nothing else to do to make myself run. So,
Hey,
but
I mean, it is really hot here, but on days when it's cloudy and rainy, it ain't so bad, and it's pretty, to run down here. I mean, the scenery's great. So
the neighborhood's great. It's a great place to run. It's awesome.
Throw some young boy in, it might help.
I will.
So,
I will. Young boy, some big text to plug. Let me get this before I get you out of here. Last thing, I promise, and I'm shutting up. 5 favorite artists right
go
now.
Eat dinner, so.
5 favorite artists. 5 favorite artists right now. We know NBA young boys.
Okay.
Top.
Yeah,
we got that.
Future, Lil Baby, Gunna, and I mean, I kind of like the old school Louisiana too a little bit, Boosie for sure. But I also like EDM music and country. Like I have that side to me too sometimes when I'm trying to wind down a little bit, and so I do enjoy those genres too. But I'll probably throw him in as 5 because I flick that on a little bit sometimes too. I like how that flows, and they play it at the high school games. I like going to the very country high school games because they play music out there and they don't really have standards. Like they don't care. They'll play young boy, and they lean into it, and it's awesome.
It's nothing like being in Columbia, Mississippi, and hearing like old school 504 boys on the PA system for a walk-up song, and it's not edited.
Yeah. Like this doesn't need. We don't need to be corporate out here. Like we can just be us. Like we're here to play.
This school is connected to a church.
And vibe. That's it. Yeah. So
this school is connected to a church, and he's talking about hoes and diamonds. So
hey,
that's just.
I think there's some young boy songs that people might think I'm crazy that you could play on wedding day and they would fit.
Oh, 100%.
There are some.
So I would big text to plugs number 1 overall.
He's good too. I do like him too, but I
just love his flow. I just love his flow. That's just what it is. Let me pull this up. It's like old school stuff. Wayne, you can't beat Wayne.
Yeah.
Boosie, like the old Boosie and Webby stuff. A guy you're gonna hate me saying, Dirk.
I don't mind him. I know there's beef. I'm not really into that stuff. I just like the music. I don't really care about who likes who and who doesn't, because nobody likes each other really. It seems like for the most part, but he's pretty good too. Yeah.
And my favorite artist to work out to, Eminem, your boy.
Yeah. I was a big. I mean, he's a Detroit guy, so obviously I grew up on him, and I've kind of phased out of that a little bit. But there's some songs on there for sure that are always,
old.
You always go to them. Old reliable. Yeah.
And if you ever want something to listen to while you're working out, write this down. Polyphia. I'll send you a message with that in a minute.
I don't think I said what you said, so
not Bolivia. I'll say it to you. Okay. Anyways, make sure y'all check out the Game Time with John Eads Podcast. Make sure y'all check out his YouTube channel. All of his links are listed below in the description. Make sure y'all are following John. Y'all all are following John already. But go check out his Game Time Podcast. Go check out his YouTube channel. It's a fun little YouTube channel. He's playing NCAA football. I'm not sure what else he has planned for it, but it's never a bad time when you hang out with John. At the end of the day, John, thank you very much for coming on and spending your time with me. And hopefully we can do this again one day.
My pleasure.
If not, I'm going to see you at the games, and I'm going to bug you.
No, anytime. And I listened to the show. I mean, I listened to your episode with Ronnie and a little bit of your episode with Micah. It's good stuff to listen to while I'm driving and whatever. I appreciate it. So, yeah, love the show. And I've commented on a few, I think, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Any kind of tips you got for an old bastard like me? I'll take it.
I don't think I'm in a position to give you advice.
When it comes to this, you might. But I'm going to let you go eat, because I'm sure you got to get a lift in a minute.
No. It's always done by 2:00. I mean, I'm a morning. Yeah, I can't do it in the evening or afternoon. So yeah, we're gonna eat some dinner and wind down. I just watched a great documentary on Netflix. The subject matter is terrible. It's about the Vietnam War, but it was a very good documentary. Well done. I don't know if you've seen it, but yeah. So
I'm sure I have. It's turned. I'm turning to that Shane Gillis joke. You grew up to be a early onset Republican joke when you watch war documentaries. It's like that joke with me. It's like, oh, okay. But my people I work with, because I don't sleep at work, but I'll listen to war documentaries and go to sleep. And they're like, how do you listen to that? And I'm just like, don't worry about it. I'm not right in the head.
Well, I just think it's interesting to learn about the history because I wasn't alive for any of these things, and so it's fascinating,
Especially if you want to get into like conspiracy theory stuff, you could look at like what got us in Vietnam and like different stuff in politics.
Yeah,
it just you can go down a rabbit hole that you'll get lost in.
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
I could have easily grown up in that era too, and I would have been overseas, fighting. So it's
and we wouldn't have the great sports broadcaster John Eads in Baton Rouge that happened. See, everything happens for a reason.
They would have found somebody else. I mean, this is such a great place to work that if I quit today, they'd have thousands of applicants that would want to come work here. I mean, it's more about the place than it is me, I'm just the idiot capturing it with the camera. That's all I'm doing. So
you and Kevin Baptiste do amazing work. Like I'll say this, the New Orleans guys, except for the older guys who've been there forever, the new guys, and not starting any beef, but WBRZ ain't that great. But they do good work there too. I'm making a joke. But you and Baptiste are definitely head and shoulders above a lot of people in the Louisiana market. And just keep it up. And you got everybody's support behind you. I promise.
Thank you. Which I appreciate. We're just having fun, man. That's all we're doing. And that's, if you're doing that, you're successful, I think. So it doesn't matter what else you do.
100%. Well, everybody, like I always say, God loves you. All you want you to do is love him back. I hope everybody has a great evening. Go follow John and all of his stuff. The links are in the description. Go click them. Go use them. The like button is free. And subscribe. Do me a favor. Give me a little more subscribers. I love you all. Have a great day. God bless. Go Tigers.